Lesson 4.1, Congruent Figures. In this lesson, you'll be able to recognize congruent figures and their corresponding parts. So congruent polygons have congruent corresponding parts. So basically what that means is that their matching sides and angles are also congruent. So I'm going to give an example over here. When you name a congruent polygon, you must list corresponding vertices in the same order. So for example, if we go with line segment AB, so if you see AB goes with EF in that order. So line segment AB goes with EF. And the same thing it goes on. So BC, if you see it, goes with FG. So FG is congruent to FG. CD is congruent to GH. And DA, so this line, is congruent to HE. So again, if you're putting D first, you have to make sure you're putting H first. Now we're going to go with angles. Angle A is the same as angle, is congruent to angle E. Angle B, if you see the pictures, is congruent to angle F. Angle C is congruent to angle G. And angle D is congruent to angle H. Alright, so we're going to try examples now. So example 1, if the following figures are congruent, what are the congruent corresponding parts? So parts have two aspects. You have your sides and you have your angles. So let's start with your sides first, right? So if you see, if you rotate this picture, ON, well, okay, let's try with the longest one first. So HI goes with LM, right? So we'll say HI is congruent to LM. So going with that, we'll try a next one. So JI is the shortest one, and it seems that it goes with NM. So JI is congruent to NM. Then we can go with KJ, and ON go together. So KJ is congruent to ON. Whoops. And the last one I have is KH and OL. So KH is congruent to OL. Oh, this should apply. So now I'm just going to go with my angles. So if I see angle J is congruent to angle N, it's in between the blue and the green line. Then angle K is congruent to angle O. Angle L is congruent to angle H. And the last one is angle I, which is congruent to angle M. So these are going to be the corresponding congruent parts, or congruent corresponding parts. So example 2, over here I do not have a picture, but I can tell you from this expression that they're going to line up with each other. So using that, again, it's asking for congruent corresponding parts. So you have your sides and you have your angles. So again, it's triangle, so it has 3 sides and 3 angles. So let's see, angle W So angle W, if you see, it matches up with M. It's in the same position, M. So it's going to be congruent to angle M. Angle Y is going to be congruent to angle K because they're the same position. And angle S is going to be congruent to angle V. The angles, the sides will also have to match up. So when you have WY is congruent to MK, then you have YS, that's congruent to KV, and if you just see this, you have WYS, so WYYS, and your last side is SW. Again, S goes with V and W goes with M, so it's congruent to VM. All right. So now we're going to do some algebra with it. So I'm just going to draw this if it helps. So you have W, Y, S, and M, K, V. So W is 62. If W is 62, M is also going to be 62 because they line up with each other. They're congruent. Then Y is 35. So that means K also has to be 35. So now it's asking for angle V, which is on this side. So angle V also goes with angle S, so we know that it's going to be 180 equals 35 plus 62 plus angle V. So it's going to be 180 equals 97 plus angle V, measure of angle V. So you subtract 97 on both sides, and you get the measure of angle V. Gonna borrow from here. 17 minus 9 gives me 8. So again, I got information for this this triangle, but I had to find stuff for this one. So again, I just used the matching information to find out this and that, to find out V. The last one, example 4, it's asking whether we know that the triangles are congruent. So if the triangles are congruent, all the angles have to be congruent, and sides have to be congruent. So let's see here. We have one angle that's congruent, right? Because of that symbol. We have 2 angles that's congruent. So we have angle A is congruent to angle E. We have angle B is congruent to angle D. And from what we have learned, these are vertical angles, so they're also congruent. So angle BCA is congruent to angle ECD. So we have all 3 angles that are congruent. So that's a check. Now we have to check all the sides as well. So let's check the sides. So we have BA is congruent to ED, right? It tells you over here. Then we also have, BA is congruent to, I switched them because B goes with DE. And then we have BC is 4, right? And this is 4 as well. So BC is congruent to DC. And lastly, you have 6 and 6. So you know that AC is congruent to EC. So yeah, all the 3 sides are also congruent. So are they congruent? Yes. Because both angles and sides are also congruent. So that is all for this lesson.